And Marion Reneau on a 3-fight losing streak, taking on Macy Chiasson, who won the Ultimate Fighter Season 28. Like, my guy, where ya at, Juan Espino? And for Macy Chaisson in the UFC, it's been a good run. She beat Pannie Kianzad to win that title, if you want to call it a title, but the tournament championship. She knocks out Gina Mazzani. She knocks out Sarah Morris. She loses to the elbow queen, Alina Landsberg, and then she beats Shanna Young, who was coming in on short notice. She had fought at flyweight, at bantamweight in the past, but that was a really good statement win for Macy Chaisson. That was a good confidence builder. It's been a while. It's been almost 2 years since we saw her last in the cage, coming out of Fortis MMA. Now, I said for Marion Reneau, she's almost 44 years old, and she's on a 3-fight losing streak. But this fight's a lot more competitive than just those numbers. Because if you look at that 3-fight losing streak, well, she lost to Kat Zingano 2.5 years ago. And she got dominated in that one. And her last loss was to Raquel Pennington. Well, she got dominated in that one. But the middle loss to Yana Kunitskaya, I went back, I checked it out on MMA Decisions. The majority of the MMA media members over there, the panelists, if you will, they scored that fight for Kunitskaya. I was in the minority and I had it for Reneau because she cracked Yana Kunitskaya and had her really hurt. And I had 2 rounds for Reneau versus, the 2 that most had scored it for Kunitskaya. There were some people that agreed with me. But all that to say, it was a halfway competitive fight against a decent fighter.
Oh, 100%. And here's the great thing about Marion Reneau. One of the more underrated strikers in the division. And the Sarah McMahon fight, I always go back to that because Sarah McMahon is dominating Marion Reneau. And here's the thing you have to know about Reneau. She is phenomenal at jiu-jitsu. She's terrible at wrestling. She is the bizarro version of Sarah McMahon. And you see it happen in their fight where Sarah McMahon is able to get on top and control her from on top. Marion Reneau, we talked with Louis Smolka effect. It's kind of the Marion Reneau effect. She's really good at jiu-jitsu, but she will just stay on her back and have these long periods of inactivity where she's giving up time. And we all know what a judge takes into consideration more than just time off their back. Yeah, unless you're Brian Ortega off your back, the person in your guard is probably going to be winning those positions. Now, Marion Reneau in the second round of that fight shows off what she is so good at. She's got big pop in her shots. And it's weird because, again, talk about the fact she's almost 44 years old. She is a gym teacher. She beats the brakes off every other gym teacher in America, if not all of North America, because she does have that really nice power on the end of her shots. When she gets in top position, especially on the mat, she's got phenomenal submissions. I really like her triangle choke, but we did see the Kat Zingano fight I always go back to, because Kat Zingano just kind of throws her down and takes her down and accumulates a lot of top control, but doesn't do a lot with it, because if you do give Marion Reneau space, she does have good sweep. She can get a submission of her own. But when fighters go in there and they do fight more of a wrestling-oriented, kind of safe game plan, if you will, you can really neutralize a lot of the good weapons of Marion Reneau, where Macy Chaisson, she does have great striking. She's great from top position. We see her elbows too. But Macy's bread and butter, she's great in the clinch. She's got really good power in the clinch. We saw that in the Gina Mazzani fight. And listen, Gina Mazzani's not the best fighter you're ever going to go out there and fight. But it's kind of the theme of Macy's record, where she has wins over people she should be beating. It's not like she's going out there and has any surprising win where you're like, oh, wow, she knocked out Valentina in the third.
Pannie Kianzad's probably the best one.
It's a good win, don't get me wrong, but beating Pannie Kianzad doesn't really tell me a lot about your long-term future in the division, and it always is curious, too, because they fought at 145. That season of The Ultimate Fighter was heavy hitters, so it was the women's featherweight with the men's heavyweight. She looked great in that season, and I really like the striking of Chaisson. I just don't really know where I could put her at skill level-wise, because the Lena Landsberg loss is a bad one. And I think Lena Landsberg's a fairly good MMA fighter. She's kind of good at everything. We talked about the elbows. She's the elbow queen. But she's got good wrestling. She's got good clinch work, good distance striking. She doesn't really excel at anything, I wouldn't say. She's kind of dominated Macy at every area of the fight. She used the clinch against Chaisson. She was able to take her down. She was able to really get some top control of her own. So although I really like Macy in this fight, I like her youth, I like her distance striking, she's by far the more heavy-handed out of the two, even though I do think we should pay respect to the striking power of Marion Reneau. I just don't really know what version of either fighter I'm going to get. Like, every version of Marion Reneau I think of is like, oh, wow, that fight was 3 years ago. And for Macy, it's, well, your peak is really, really good, but I just haven't seen you beat anyone on Marion Reneau's level. So hopefully for Macy Chaisson, this is her big win to really get her on people's radar. But there's just so many question marks going into this fight that I have a hard time thinking that Macy is a 2-1 favorite over Marion Reneau, even at the age of 43.
And when I look at, Macy Chaisson's record, so you beat Pannie Kianzad on the Ultimate Fighter at 145. The Pannie Kianzad that fought on that Ultimate Fighter and today's Pannie Kianzad in that short 2 years, she's a much better fighter, especially at 35. I know I was excited about her before that season of The Ultimate Fighter, and truth be told, in cards on the table. Again, I like Juan Espino a lot, And it was great on the Ultimate Fighter, but I'm not a big Ultimate Fighter guy. But Panic Kansat, I was excited before the season. Gina Mazzani win, below Kansat, I would say. Then you look at the win over Sarah Morris, below Kansat, but that's in my mind's eye. She loses to Landsberg, who's a 10 to 15 bantamweight. And then you beat Shanna Young, that was on short notice. I know, Macy Chiasson, if you look at her record, she was supposed to fight Sajara Eubanks back last year. That fight fell out. Chiasson withdrew. And, obviously less than a good thing that you see a fighter withdraw out of a fight like that. Now taking on Marion Reneau, who, again, I set it up this way. You're almost 44. You're on a 3-fight losing streak. She's 9-6-1 overall. I think she has a good chance in this fight.
Oh, yeah. Stylistically, it's great for her.
You can't count Marion Reneau out of this fight. I think under normal circumstances, if Macy Chaisson comes in here like we know she can, she's probably going to beat Marion Reneau by decision. It's a tricky one, though. It really is.
I agree with everything you said. Like, the best version of Macy Chiasson should go out there and just outstrike Marion Reneau, not really get into a lot of grappling exchanges with her. And I hate to say play it safe, because, again, she could get the TKO at this weight class. One of the more heavy-handed women, especially at 135. I'm much more comfortable with your pick. I do like her by decision. I think she'll just do enough every single round. Listen, you're not going to be that impressed by Macy in this fight, I don't think. I think she is going to have to fight a smart fight, not just go out there and think, okay, this is the biggest name opponent I've ever been against. Let's go out there and try to make a really nice statement win. I think she just has to go out there looking for the win. Marion Reneau, yes, she's on a 3-fight losing streak. Yes, she's 42, but she is not an easy fight for anybody. And
if 44.
For almost 44, which is wild. But if she's able to get top position on Macy, it's going to be an interesting fight. I don't love the odds where they are. I think they should be closer, but I do agree with you. I think Macy by decision is probably a good pick.
All right, Matt. So we're updating the folks at home, talking about Macy Chaisson taking on Marion Reneau. And as far as those odds are concerned, Macy opened to minus 225 or thereabouts. She's actually minus 208 favorite now. And there's some late money coming in. And I say late. We still have about a week before the fight. But some late money coming in on Marion Reneau, who opened to plus 190. She's now at a plus 169. So the money's coming in on the old gym teacher, Marion Reneau, and away from Fortis MMA's Macy Chiasson, who, again, if you look at her record, 1-1 in her last two. That Lena Landsberg fight maybe weighing on a lot of people's minds. What are you thinking?
1-1 in her last two, 0-3 in her last three. Again, being 1-1 in your last two, you either win or you learn. And I do think the Lena Landsberg fight was more of a learning experience for a fighter like Macy, who is very young in her career. She does only have 7 fights. This is going to be another one of those experience-gaining fights, but I do really like Macy Chaisson in this fight. Yeah, it's tough to pick the 43-year-old in this one.
You look at it for Marion Reneau, young in terms of fight years. She's
21 years older than me.
You look at it in terms of the overall quality of opponent. The last 3, Kat Zingano, Raquel Pennington, and then in her last fight, Yana Kunitskaya, former title challengers. So there is that. But yeah, I'm going with Fortis MMA's Macy Chaisson to get the win. We're both going with Dallas, Texas' own Macy Chaisson, and I'm really looking forward to this card, Matt. We have Gregor Gillespie taking on Brad Riddell in an awesome clash of styles, the co-main event. And then you have Derek Brunson taking on Kevin Holland in the main. So keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt, as we always say.
Let's get into it.